It is an invasion on our southern border, and I wish there was any force in our government that cared enough to stop it. It's not an unsolvable problem. We could solve it, but we choose not to. And if we're choosing to turn our southern border states into America's dangerous turnstile, the least we could do is not disarm the people who are then forced to deal with that catastrophic influx of violence. A return to normal. That was the principal covenant between Democrats and voters when they obtained unified control of the government. A return to normal. But now, they've been in power for nearly 2 years, and we have a country that is poorer, dirtier, and less safe. And there's no dispute about that. And now, having done that to our country, they want to disarm law-abiding Americans under false pretense, under the pretense that this is going to stop school shootings or that this is going to limit gun violence. I think we've seen a number of circumstances where people lawfully, responsibly exercising their rights to gun ownership have indeed made circumstances far better. I was very critical of initial moves right after the Uvalde shooting that Democrats made to have snap gun control. I thought, well, maybe we ought to take a moment, see what these facts expose. And yet they were moving gun control legislation to the floor before we even know what we know now, that this was not a series of deaths caused exclusively by a firearm. These deaths were entirely preventable if we'd have had an adequate law enforcement response. But those people sat there and reutilized the hand sanitizer as children were being slaughtered. And it's heartbreaking to all of us. And we warned the country. We said, look, they're coming for your guns with these active shooter alert bills and red flag bills. And they said, no, we're not coming for your guns. We just want reasonable regulations. And now we get proven right. They are coming for your guns. They're listing them out in this extensive legislation to try to show people precisely what they ought to be afraid of. And there's nothing to fear from Americans who are lawfully and responsibly using firearms. And so I would suggest that we reject this and that we see these challenges as they come to us, as a slow creep against
Mr. Gaetz, will you yield?
I'll yield to the gentleman from Texas.
Yeah, I would like to point out that to the gentleman's point about South Texas and the response to the chairman about, is the United States military not doing its job to secure the border of the United States? No. The entire infrastructure of the federal government is failing to secure the border of the United States in wide, plain, open view. All for the entire country to see on a daily basis. 107,000 dead Americans from opioid poisonings and overdoses. Thousands of fentanyl pills pouring into our communities. Gunfire in communities in South Texas as a result of dangerous and violent incursions across the border. The extent to which the cartels are increasingly armed and increasingly dangerous is being reported over and over and over again by those that follow what's happening at the border. And this president and this Secretary of Homeland Security literally refuse to actually enforce the laws of the United States, allowing a flood into the country, releasing people to the United States while our borders are open with 850,000 known gotaways. They finally issue a report after 8 months. I sent a letter to say that 42 individuals affiliated with terrorist countries, terrorist entities, had entered the United States, been apprehended. Now we know that number is 56 because they're finally reporting it. They're doing nothing about it. Absolutely nothing about it. I'd yield back to the gentleman.
Well, and I would also note that the cartels are on both sides of the border. When you go down there, as Mr. Biggs and Mr. Roy do quite frequently, you see that this violence does not simply occur on the Mexican side. And so that's why the amendment is particularly poignant. And I've actually talked with farmers and ranchers on the border who say that they are less likely at times to encounter the most dangerous elements of the cartels because the cartels know which homes are armed and where people actually go out and engage in shooting practice. I'll yield to the gentleman from Ohio.
Well, and the amendment's a great amendment. I appreciate the gentleman for yielding. But it's not that they're not capable of doing it. It's done intentionally. Of course, that's all the more reason for the amendment when the federal government is intentionally saying we are not going to have a border, and all you have to do is look at the numbers. All you have to do is remember what the Secretary of Homeland Security said when he sat right there, and we asked him, what about the 42 individuals on the terrorist watch list? What's their status? And his answer was, I don't know. That's why this amendment is so darn important. I yield back.
The gentleman now yield.
I'll yield.
I want to make 2 points very quickly. Number one, no one's coming for anyone's guns because under the terms of the bill, if you own a prohibited gun, it's grandfathered, you're permitted to keep it. So no one's coming for anyone's guns. And secondly, I can only imagine the chaos if people have these mass weapons. Who are they going to shoot? Anybody they suspect?
Anybody that would hurt them.
Anybody they suspect?
Anybody that would hurt them. Just like in Florida when we use our stand our ground laws. That's when you would use them.